Hey yo YouTube, I am here to continue talking about my D&D game. In our last session, we left off where we just got back to the ROH. Um, like I said last time, I did end up getting together with the DM a few days before and getting a small little session. Role playing wise, all we did was we made it where Honest Scar on his own, which really doesn't make sense, but whatever. Um, took the Wemmicks to see the Wise Ones, and then they ended up taking them to Fort Tar to see the structure. Both scenes kind of went how you expect. It's just us giving a rundown of the story to the Wise Ones. Them asking the typical questions. Us telling them that these ones were more an ancient, a more ancient tribe that seems to know a little more. And then, like I said, I took them to Fort Tar, showed them the structure, showed them all the paintings. Asked them because in the paintings at the end, there's Admiral or there's a tabby that looks like Admiral. Then there's another painting of a guy who looks like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Uh, I asked them if they've heard of anything like that. They don't know what it is. And then afterwards, after done with them, they do say that they do want to be stationed here, and they always want like four Wemmicks on the door at all times. When I'm done with them, I leave the structure, and I saw I can't remember their name, but they were a Fire Pride member who I don't think I ever mentioned this. To be honest with you, I fought them in the duel early in the campaign, and I ended up losing. So I was like, well, this is my time to settle the score. Uh, I approached them, and before we both had clubs that I took off of some creatures, and this time I was like, "We're not Pauls anymore. Are you able to fight with your main weapon without killing someone?" And they're like, "I usually prefer not to duel that way, but for you, I'll make an exception." And I mopped the floor with them, especially since it's my Haliber, I hit them my hits are so hard, they don't last long at all. Like at the end, I tell them like you lost the moment you agreed to fight me with my Haliber because I've improved with it. So then we end that short session there and get into the real thing like a day later. Um, the DM tells Nina's player that me and him did something. Uh, and he could make it where because he needs to tell the wise ones about the dogheads that joined our group. The DM's kind of we already kind of played out a few scenes. We made it like Nina wasn't there, so you could just do it where you have a meeting right after Onyx. Uh, and Nina's player never doesn't really catch that I went to Fort Tar. So at first they say no, I won't wait. I'll just go to the bar. And to be honest with you, this session was kind of frustrating because Nina's player has a habit of taking over the game role playing wise and will take up like 3 hours of the sessions, give or take. Like there are times where we literally didn't get to anything because they role played the whole night by themselves. This has only happened like maybe twice in this campaign, but in our higher level campaign, they've done it a handful of times, enough that I was gonna say something the next time they did this, but since I have that session on my own, and also I didn't mention this, but Raw Rights player wasn't there, so it was just me as a player. But uh, but yeah, I've been kind of waiting to like, hey, there's other players here that want to play too, man. Why don't you kind of wrap this up? But like, let me see. I didn't really pay much attention. Like to a point, I quit paying attention. I keep invested a little, but I try not to. to a big point, I don't care whenever they start doing this because Nina's character or Nina's player does a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with the rest of the party. So, like I said, they're at the mess hall, which is called Penny's because it's owned by the daughter of Pocket, which is a popular or a famous halfling in our world. And I believe at first they're talking to one of the ROH people, like someone who's uh who's there, and I have no idea what I don't remember at all what they talk about. But I knew as she no, but I do know as she starts to leave, she sees our she saw someone that she knows from her home country or city, and they call her over and they start asking her about how much progress she made and what they talked about before, which is like getting close with the party, getting to know Beck more, getting to know about her half vamp or part vampire powers. However you want to word whatever type of vampire she is, type 3. Um, Eventually she ends that conversation and then she goes to the two meetings she's supposed to go to, which is actually I don't think she ever talks to the wise ones, or she goes straight to Fort Tar and talks to the wise ones there, and tells them about the dog heads. And truth be told, I don't even remember what she really said about the dog heads, because by this time we were like 2 3 hours in, or 2 2.5 hours in, and yeah, again, like I said, I really didn't. And then after that, she tracks down Onyx Scar, which I say that I'm doing my warrior duties. So like the DM says like they just put me on guard patrol or something like that. So she tracks me down and she tells me, asks when we're leaving and stuff like that. I say I'm ready whenever the group is, and she asks if we can wait a day because she wants to go back home uh, with some members of the party. I don't really remember what she claims her reason for going back home. Before this, though, she does go to the tent and finds Beck and asks Beck if she would go back to her home place and like take blood samples and ask some questions, stuff like that. Uh, Rawrite, Rawrite is on the map inside the tent, but nobody really points that out. And then whenever she leaves, I say, because like every now and then when a player ain't there, I'll kind of suggest what they might do. Lately, I've just been more taking over. Like, Rawrite hasn't been here for like 2 3 sessions. Uh, so like, yeah, there's been a few times I've talked for him, and as time goes on, I'm doing it more. But I say he sticks his head out, revealing he's been there the whole time, and it sounds sketchy to me. But like, I want to say all three of them, Nina and Rawrite go to her city. She didn't even invite Onyx Guard because he made like a smart ass comment whenever she approached him about how it was nice not being around her. And like her first response is that it's the dog heads, and reflecting, I'm like, yeah, of course you think it's the dog heads and not you. Um, but they go back to her city. They do a few things, but eventually the DM says, I wasn't prepared for this, so whatever results you get. And he also gets like samples of the dog heads and like asks Rawrite for samples, and Rawrite says, nah, nah, I'm good on that. So they come back to Fort Tar. Like the next day, we decide to set out and go through the door. Nina gets her next vision to go to the next place. Whenever Nina asks, like, where are we going next, I kind of say, well, we only got two left, so let's kind of just let Star Pride decide. Um, so yeah, the next day we wake up, we get I asked to switch out the six human squad members with three Wimics because it, like I say, it was told to us that Wimics are meant to guard the doors. So now we're going in with a group of seven Wimics along with us. And again, I positioned myself in the back, and like Nina's like if we see Wemix again, he should be in the front. I'm like, no, I'm fine where position are. So we go through the door. We travel for a little bit. Same thing. Get to the island. Find Admiral's tracks, Admiral's paw prints. Follow it to another door. Um, Nina punches in the code. We go through it. Um, Again, and everything ends up being black forever. Like no one could see anything except for Onyx Gar and the other Wemmicks. Uh, we push forward a little bit, and immediately we see like two or three. The DM describes them as werewolf-looking fiends, and he says roll initiative. And like my first joke was, "Oh, we can't negotiate," and like he says, on your turn on initiative. Um, so so this time I do have the battle map up, so I'm gonna old school DSP it again, and let's take a look. So the party, all this blue is like the vortex that we were traveling through. These blue squares and lines. Uh, but the party's in this square, so it starts off in this square. Um, Nina's all I said, all of Nina's characters are in the front, like Rawride and Beck are in the middle, and Onyx is like here, and all the Wemmicks are back there. So let me see if I could get a closer view of the werewolf. So at first we see two or three of these littler ones, these little werewolf or medium-sized werewolf characters, creatures, and Nina ends up winning initiative, or Nina's characters end up winning initiative. Like they run forward, and I end up making the joke again, like negotiate, and then they say they hold turn, and I'm like, what are you doing? Don't negotiate with them. Like I was completely joking. So when it's my turn, I end up running down to about here-ish, and I'm able to see like all of this. Yeah, like I get to see like up to about 60 feet. So I get to see all that. I see these big ones, these big werewolves, uh, and I see this, which from the higher level campaign, I know what that is as a player. And I believe we've seen these bigger werewolves. Well, I know we've seen these bigger werewolves and the smaller werewolves in the other campaign too. Uh, I end up, when I see the at first I'm gonna shoot an arrow at one of the small ones, but whenever the DM reveals the map and shows one of the big ones, I shoot it at him, and like I tell Nina and the other ones, Kohaku, I believe, is also in front right now. Like, what are y'all doing? They're everywhere. Because, yeah, like I said, we see there's like two or three of the small ones, like here-ish. Kind of looks like they're praying because they don't really do much for a while. Um, I know Ivan is about here-ish near the beginning of the fight, and about three to four of them just gank him. Like for most of the fight, he's fighting like three of them. Uh, uh, I want to say this big one runs up on him, and then when it's my turn, I move 5 steps. I want to say I was a little farther than that originally. I move 5 steps, and since I'm large and have a 10-foot reach, I'm able to do all my hits on him. And I recently also just picked up quick draw, so I didn't have to use a movement to switch weapons. Um, Kohaku is there like the whole fight. I want to say he's actually 5 steps back, 5 feet back, and they're just lining up, and like he's just wrecking them. Also, whenever I attack him, I pull out the silver katana that I got from last battle because yeah, like I said, it's silver, but also it's an exotic weapon, so I'm fighting at a -4. But Rawrite, who I think is right there, Uh, ends up doing all his buffs, so I'm only fighting at a -1, so that's good. I want to say their AC was like negative, or at not negative, but their AC was 25. I'm like the whole fight, Nina's just blasting spells. Like I know she hits this group or this area with fireball a couple of times. Like when I kind of pointed out, she's hitting werewolves she's not even seeing. But like I said, since it's what you would call it, raid area, it really doesn't matter. Uh, Eventually, I move up near the end of the fight. I'm there. Uh, I kill that one. Oh no, I want to say some. I want to say Beck kills the one that I'm on, and I kill that one. Uh, we go a couple of turns. I know I gotta because I recently changed to a chain shirt, so I got my movement up to 50. So my plan was to move because like this guy's still up and this guy's still up and a few more other things. Not much though, but that's the main thing. So I want to say this one's still up too. But my plan was to move 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. Well, I guess I would have went 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and flank this guy here. Uh, but the DM said that before my turn came around, the DM said the Wimics come down and throw arrows, or not arrows, but spears at all the last ones that are living because he has to wrap it up. Because we ended up starting early that day because we had to end early. So that ended up ending our session. Now, the DM does say keep track of your hit points and where you're at with your stats because he might tweak something at the start of next session. I was hoping that would mean that we would just start the fight where we left off and kind of retcon that he killed those last three, but he gave us experience the other day for it, so I don't think we're doing that. Uh, but I meant to show it, but there's actually a lot more. There's a lot of fog of war still left on the map, so there's a lot more stuff that could potentially still be on the map. So we'll see. Hopefully, we still have a nice, good fight coming at the start of next session. Uh, you want to find out? Watch my next video. You want to watch you want to know my whole story? Watch all the videos and check you later.